Dream Lifestyle Living podcast. Now, today, what I want to talk about is confidence and where it should stem from. The reason why I want to have this conversation is because the other day I was having just a talk with someone that's super close to me, and we were talking about confidence. And they had said to me that the way that I train and the way that I hold myself in the gym and just the way that I kind of go through life with my goals, I make it look a little easy. And like long story short, the conversation ended up being about like how I make it look easy, and it came on the topic of confidence and how I make things look easy, especially my training. Because we were just talking about frustrations with training when you got to change protocols, when you're dealing with rehab issues, when you're dealing with like plateaus of fat loss, all these different things, right? And for me personally, like I haven't really missed the last like 4 to 6 years. Like training, I haven't missed in like 6 years for sure. Nutrition, I haven't missed in about 3.5. And the conversation came around about confidence, and they just said I looked a lot like really confident when I do these things. And it's not that I'm not confident, but we had a big conversation about where confidence stems from. And, training is a big reason why, you should be confident in terms of, how you look, how you feel, and things like that. But a lot of us hold too much value on how we physically look, and that's where our confidence stems from. And we ended up having a conversation about where, like, the question was, like, where does your confidence come from? And immediately I started going on this rant about where it comes from, and 95% of the conversation as to what I said had nothing to do with my physical fitness. And it's crazy because when I was having the conversation, not that that person was mind blown or kind of like caught off guard, but it clicked a lot of different boxes for this person to realize these shifts in terms of focusing on certain avenues of confidence and then really focusing on other avenues of confidence. Now, if you're very confident because your physical fitness, like I am very confident that I'm physically fit. I'm in good shape. I go to the gym all the time. I track my nutrition. I know I have high standards, and I know when I walk into a room, most of the time I'm going to be one of the top guys in there in terms of my fitness. And that's not an arrogancy thing. I've worked incredibly fucking hard to get there. Like I know I went to the mall today, and I know when I wear stuff like this, like I just stand out a little bit. And I'm used to that attention. And it's not about that attention giving me confidence or being validation. But again, we all like to have that feeling. We all like to look in the mirror, wear clothes, and like know we feel good, know we look good, and all those different things. It adds a lot of quality and adds a lot of value to the rest of our lives. However, there is a subtle shift if you just get your confidence from how you look. There are self-centered people that get a little bit egotistic with their fitness goals, and then they rely too heavily on them for the physical fit, their actual confidence. And that's why I said out of all of the confidence I have, my physical fitness and how I look is only about 5 or 10% of it. Obviously, when I started getting into the gym, it was all for physical fitness. It was all for how it looked better. So back when I was 21, I'm very confident to say it was probably 85 to 95, if not 100%, as to the reason why I want to lose weight and build muscle and look the way that I do now. And that's because I grew up chubby. I grew up always chubby. I never played sports, so it was the vanity metrics. I wanted to look good. My confidence came from other people validating that I look good. That's how I got into bodybuilding shows, because I got more validation as to how I look and how I feel and how I operate. So at one point, that was entirely the stem of my confidence. And I know a lot of us have a lot of that kind of similar path, because again, you only go to the gym because you don't like how you look. A big part is you don't like how you feel as well, but a big tie of that is how you look. Like, at the end of the day, now take this with a grain of salt, like you're not going to go to the gym for 30 to 40 to 50 years to not look at least closer to how you want to look versus farther away. We all feel better in the gym mentally, and there's a lot of, science backing that up as to why we feel better going to the gym for many different reasons. But if your confidence is truly just stemming from how you look and getting validation from, maybe people's comments, maybe like Instagram likes because you look a certain way, or just holding this physical standard that you think is, your identity, that's where you have a rocky system of where your confidence comes from. And the conversation I was having is 95% of my confidence comes from who I am as a man, who I am as a person, and how I hold myself to the standard that I set out for myself. It's keeping promises to myself and seeing the end goal for us through. Like my confidence from the gym is more so from the actual day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month commitment to the gym. It's not the actual how I look. It's going to the gym 5 days a week and making sure my training is in sync and super intentional. Every single exercise, every single rep, and every single movement pattern I'm doing has an intention behind it. That's what gives me the confidence. Same with nutrition. It's not about how I look and my body fat percentage of walking around saying I look this way. It's how integral I am to my diet, my macros, my fitness goals in terms of what I'm eating and putting in my body. Now, if I practice that every single day, every single meal, every single week, month after month, that's where my confidence comes from. And then my boundaries, related to my fitness goals of keeping that fucking schedule firm. Even when I travel to Mexico, it's 5 days a week. No matter where I go, I can confidently say the only time I miss my training sessions or miss nutrition or anything like that, the last, like, especially nutrition, last 3.5 to 5 years was when I was traveling, or I was really, really sick and couldn't eat. So it's the way I show up for these things in my life where my confidence comes from. And then again, that only takes me to about 50% of my confidence, because again, like, the rest of the confidence comes from the personal goals. I built my own business because I invested into mentorship programs, and I'm able to, like, go against the grain, take risks. I proved myself that I'm capable under high stress environments, quitting my fucking job, investing thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in investment programs, mentor programs, giving my time and energy to places with no financial gain or return on investment in that regard at all, for years and months and weeks and hours on end, to come out on top. Have my own business, move to Mexico. Me and Emma doing what we want every single fucking day. And now our business is incorporated and we're looking into visas to travel the fucking world, separate from our business entity, because now we're getting into a position to look at land, look at houses, really set our future up. Like, I'm turning 32 this year. And again, the same concept of what's going to make me confident that I'm going to achieve these goals is the standards that I hold each day for the goals I'm talking about right now. The daily habits, the daily systems, like the things that I know that keep my standards high, the things that give me the desired outcome of how I feel in momentum each day and feel in control and have certainty that I'm going to get to where I want in life. That's where my confidence comes from. And the reason why you should stem your confidence from that as well is because, like I chatted on another podcast episode, is the courage it takes for you to truly understand the depths of your emotions to want to change. And I want to say that again because I don't feel like people really understand what I'm saying when I say that, but the courage it takes to embrace the depths of your emotions to change and admit that you're not happy with where you are is incredibly fucking heavy. That's why midlife crisis is such a big thing amongst everyone in the entire world. That's why, men's mental health is even horrible between their 40s, is because we get to a point in our life where we can't run away from our problems. Every single day you brush your teeth, you look in the mirror, and you're met with that version of yourself you're not. So if you're unhappy with how you look and how you feel and how you're operating, you're going to be met every single time you brush your teeth, every single time you look in the mirror, even when you're driving, doing your shoulder checks and making sure there's no cars around you. You go to the washroom midday through work, like, you're going to be met every day at multiple times throughout the course of the day where you're not happy at, and you ignore it until you get to a point that there's a breaking point. So if you're not getting to that breaking point, or if you had early, then it's a little secret blessing. But if you're being proactive and changing your life, showing up and embracing those emotions it takes to admit you're not happy, like, that's where your confidence comes from. And again, it doesn't matter where you are physically. Like, of course, at the end of the day, if you're not happy with your body fat percentage, happy with your workout routines or how you feel, look yet physically, like, of course, that's going to play a role in your confidence. You're not going to feel your best, but that's not the end all be all. It's the same as if I was to say, like, well, I'm not going to be confident in my financial income because I'm not making $1 million a year yet. It's like, I understand the weight that it takes to make $1 million. Same as you need to understand the weight it takes to get in the best shape of your fucking life. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I'm not, I'm not good, I'm not happy, I'm not content because I just don't have X yet. It's just looking at the daily, weekly, monthly habits, standards, and your disciplines that are leading up to putting yourself in that position, have it one day. And I think that's the biggest thing that I like to share with my fitness goals. Like, the only difference between me looking this way and everyone else looking the way that they want to look is I just been doing this for 10 years. Like 10 years. Like 10 straight years. I'm obviously not 110% on it, but like 10 years I've been in and out of the gym with a coach, investing into myself in that regard. I was in the gym since I was 15. So I'm going on 16 years of being in the gym more often than not. In the last 4 to 5 years, being 110% on it with multiple different avenues of help. I've had 4 or 5 coaches, 3 of them are still intact. I've only switched one. Just all these resources that, again, add on to where I'm going. So, if like you're not happy with where you want to be physically or in certain areas of life, that is okay, because that's going to be that's the rest of your life. You're every single day, every single goal, you're always going to be looking at the next thing. If you get in the best shape of your life, there's going to be a point when you want to push that farther. If you get in the best relationship of your life, there's going to be points where you either self-sabotage because you need to work on yourself personally, or you're going to outgrow a relationship or start looking for things that should be better. You're going to try to find things that aren't where they need to be, especially financially. Like, you're always going to question if you're making enough money to set everyone up for success or whatever it is your goals are. So it's not about the end goal giving you the confidence, exactly with the prime example being the fitness. It's about the daily, weekly, and monthly habits that you hold every single day. And it's about you embracing those emotions, because again, when you're not happy with where you're at, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's all kinds of other mental things that go on. And if you're willing to embrace those and embrace those hard fucking days where you're literally looking at the wall, not knowing what the fuck's gonna go, what's happening, you feel like your brain is splitting in half, and that's because you're reshaping your identity. So the daily, the weekly, and the monthly habits and the standards that you hold for yourself, that you do time and time and time and time again to make yourself the best version of yourself, that's where your confidence comes from. And if people around you don't have the same standard in terms of how they show up for themselves as you do, then you deserve to be better than them in some regard, subjective to your opinion. But again, you can't take advice from people that are doing less. Now, a prime example is just because someone's in better shape than you doesn't mean they're putting in more time and energy than you. Sometimes there's better genetics, better experiences, maybe had a better athletic background, whatever it may be. And that's not a great example to give. But again, if you know you're doing more in terms of effort, in terms of intention, in terms of the daily integrity you're holding for your standards of tracking nutrition, going to the gym, doing the shit that you need to do to get to where you want in your life, that's where your anchor is for confidence. And if you're going to lead with that every single day, like how can you ever lose? You know what I mean? Because that puts you in a position mentally to always be proactive, to always have clarity as to where you're at in time and space as to where is in terms of your goals, in terms of where you're at. Because again, you're not going to feel confident every single fucking day, but that doesn't mean you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Again, it's like, you can have bad days where you don't feel good in terms of your life and where you're going because you're maybe being a little bit hard on yourself, whatever it is. But it doesn't mean you're insecure. It just means you're having one of those days. So again, even when you can look at it through the lens of where your confidence comes from for how you show up each day and each week, that's still going to at least help those days become that much better. And the days you feel your best, they're 10 times fucking better because you're in that much more momentum. So your confidence needs to stem from who you are as a person, who you show up as every single day, and the integrity you keep to yourself that no one sees besides yourself in terms of the promises you made to yourself. And that's the biggest thing for confidence. And it's crazy because, like I said, I know what it's like to have all of your confidence stem from your physical goals. That's what I wanted when I started. But as soon as I lost 45 pounds of fat and got into really good shape, I realized everyone that gives you attention for the physicality side of things, most of the time are very dense, shallow people. And you don't want to be surrounded with those people. So after 10 years of being in really good shape, I never identified as that being my main source of confidence because I didn't ever get a great return on investment from people I dealt with, if that makes sense. So that's why it's so much more important to look at the actions, the habits, and the systems you have and you hold each day to show the fuck up. And then other people that replicate those same standards and those same motives, those are the people you want to hang with because they're all pulling on the same rope of being the best versions of themselves unapologetically, and they're going to support everyone doing the same fucking thing. So I appreciate you guys all for tuning in as always. If you guys ever need anything, obviously always reach out. But nonetheless, keep leading from the front, setting those fucking standards and taking what's yours. Let's fucking go.